Hello friends and welcome to another installment of Golarion in Depth. As we take another look at Pathfinder's lores and legends, today we'll be looking at the legend of Tar-Baphon, the Whispering Tyrant. It has been a while since my last video, and I'm trying to make a New Year's resolution to put out a video about once a month. So please let me know in the comments what type of content you'd like to see. So without further ado, Tar-Baphon, the Whispering Tyrant. Tar-Baphon was a powerful wizard and king born nearly 4,000 years ago in the year 837 AR in what is known today as Ustalav. He ruled over much of Golarion during the last part of the 9th century. Much of his ancient history has been lost to time or shrouded in legend and mystery, but it is known that he grew up on the shores of Lake Encartha and was skilled in the dark magic of necromancy. In the year 861 AR, he conquered the city of Castrilion on the Isle of Terror. In the year 872, he discovered a strange thinning of the barrier between the Isle of Terror and the negative plane. He knew he had to claim the entire island to further his research, but one major obstacle stood in his way: Karamoros, the ancient black dragon. Karamoros and her 2 children had claimed the island's interior as their domain. Powerful and deceitful in his own right, Tar-Baphon was able to negotiate with the younger dragons and even recruit them into his own service. Karamoros would not be swayed, however. When Karamoros' son was injured in service to Tar-Baphon, the mother dragon destroyed one of the wizard's hermitage as punishment. Tar-Baphon realized that Karamoros was very protective of her children, a flaw that he could exploit. He imprisoned Estravek and Naraga, the 2 siblings, and then sought audience with the mother Karamoros. He threw down the black scales at their mother's feet and threatened to torture the dragons further if Karamoros did not yield. The mother dragon had no choice but to allow Tar-Baphon access to this thinning barrier between planes. Unknown to Karamoros, Tar-Baphon had already turned her children into raveners, undead versions of their former dragon self. Tar-Baphon's quest for power did not end with the Isle of Terror. Just 1 year prior, Tar-Baphon sought out Cenotaph, the final resting place of the Rune Lord Zutha. Zutha was the Rune Lord of Gluttony and one of the greatest necromancers in history. Prior to Earthfall, Zutha constructed Cenotaph in such a way to allow access to a natural planar portal to the negative energy plane. In 881 AR, Tar-Baphon marched legions of undead through these yawning gates. What transpired behind the massive sky metal doors is still unknown. Tar-Baphon's desire for power was still not sated. He wanted to bring all of the world under his command. He recruited the orcs from the hold of Belkzen and raised countless undead to undertake this conquest. This caught the attention of the god Eredin, the last Aslanti, the god of humanity. In 896 AR, Eredin himself killed Tar-Baphon in a mighty battle. Eredin buried his corpse in the Isle of Terror. Tar-Baphon was finally dead. Little did Eredin know that this was all part of Tar-Baphon's plan. The Whispering Tyrant had discovered that if he could manage to die at the hands of a god, he would become a lich without compare. His followers dug up Tar-Baphon's body and reburied it in his birthplace of Ustalav. For over 2,000 years, the tomb of Tar-Baphon remained undisturbed. In the year 3203 AR, Tar-Baphon used the power of the Whispering Way to rise again. The Whispering Way is an ancient and secret organization in philosophy promoting undeath. This organization relies purely on oral tradition, leaving no written record of their history. When Tar-Baphon rose from the dead as a powerful lich, he brought forth the Whispering Way's golden age, and he named himself the Whispering Tyrant. He began to fulfill the organization's ultimate goal, an undead utopia on Golarion. The Whispering Tyrant quickly conquered Ustalav and the hold of Belkzen before invading neighboring countries. He wanted to bring Eredin to the battlefield once again in an attempt to destroy the god of humanity. This plan did not work as he intended, however. In the year 3754 AR, the forces of Taldor joined with the Dwarven kingdom of Kraggadon and the righteous knights of Ozum and began the Shining Crusade. These brave warriors converged on Ustalav town of Villamus as a forward staging area. Many heroes have their stories that began here, but one more noticeable than the rest, Iomedae, the leader of the Knights of Ozum. But perhaps her story is for another day. The forces of the Whispering Tyrant seemed endless. Any living soldier who fell in battle was raised as an undead thrall. This war did not seem as if it was going to end anytime soon. Over the next 26 years, these kingdoms fought countless undead before finally securing a beachhead on the northern shore of Lake Encartha in 3801 AR. Now, the Shining Crusade began to advance, slowly reclaiming the towns and villages that had been under the Lich's control for centuries. One such victory was the town of Vasil. One of Tar-Baphon's generals, a vampire lord by the name of Malleus, was away at the time of the battle. He was distracted by his own personal vendetta against another vampire lord, Lovik Saravage, and therefore did not bring his own army to the defense of the city. In 3818 AR, the Knights of Ozum summoned Eredin's herald, a warrior goddess Arosni, to fight for them. Sadly, she was no match for Tar-Baphon. He killed the goddess in 3823 AR, and the Shining Crusade was thrown back by the defeat. Iomedae rallied the troops, however, and initiated a counter-strike that destroyed their vanguard at the Battle of Vasil Pass. The Knights of Ozum attempted to recover Arosni's corpse, eventually doing so at the Battle of Three Sorrows. Arosni was laid to rest in the Crusaders' Keep, which would later be the settlement of Vigil. The final battle took place in 3827 AR. Tar-Baphon targeted the Taldan general Arnesat. In addition to being the strong general, Arnesat was also a faithful follower of Eredin. Tar-Baphon casted Wish spell, attempting to summon Arnesat's heart into his own waiting claw. But the spell was blocked by the shield of Eredin, a powerful relic that once held by the god himself. The shield shattered into a dozen pieces, but one piece flew into the lich's hand. It melted into his flesh and burned him with a holy fire. Incapacitated, the lich's soul returned to his phylactery beneath the fortress tower of Gillowspire. The Crusaders erected a great seal within Gillowspire to forever entomb the Whispering Tyrant. This great seal consisted of 4 total seals, 3 lesser and 1 greater. The 3 lesser seals were to be watched by the armies of the Shining Crusade. 1 was given to Taldor, 1 to Kraggadon, and 1 to the Knights of Ozum. The final great seal kept Tar-Baphon and his undead minions trapped behind it. With the defeat of Tar-Baphon, this war came to an end. The orcs of Belkzen fled back to their hold, and the vampire lord Malleus withdrew to his home at Castle Cronquist. The Knights of Ozum reclaimed the region, naming it Lastwall, and established the city of Vigil. They would forever watch Gallowspire for any signs of Tar-Baphon's re-emergence. But forever came too soon. For nearly 1,000 years they watched. I hope you're enjoying the video thus far. I just wanted to let you know ahead of time that there are spoilers ahead, especially for Tyrant's Grasp adventure module of Pathfinder 1st Edition. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you like this content or would rather me cover a different topic. So without further ado, the continuation of Tar-Baphon. During this time, Tar-Baphon tried to rid himself of the shard implanted in his hand that had been his demise, and he continued to seek to find a way to break the great seal that kept him captive. The Starfall Doctrine prophesies that Eredin, the god of humanity, would manifest in Chiliax in the year 4606 AR to usher in a time of peace and prosperity. Instead, at the appointed hour, Golarion was racked with 3 weeks of massive storms, and the clerics of Eredin lost their divine powers. It was presumed that Eredin was dead. Countless theories began to emerge of what had happened to this god of humanity. They included a battle with Ravagog or Asmodeus, perhaps a journey to the outer sphere, or even a reincarnation into a mortal man to save humanity. No matter the reason, Golarion entered into a new age, the age of lost omens. The future was unclear to soothsayers, and prophecies were no better than guesses about what was to come. Heroes and villains began to rise out of the mortal populace, and this is where 1st edition Pathfinder begins. Tar-Baphon's followers still sought to free the Whispering Tyrant. In 4708, Necromancer Drasmog destroyed the first of the 4 total seals. In the year 4718, a second seal was discovered in Karamaga and was disabled by Aractus. Sometime recently, Tar-Baphon discovered that the Great Seal could only be broken by positive energy. Ironically, the Holy Shard embedded in his hand may just be his salvation. In the year 4717 AR, he telepathically commanded Gildas, a faithful follower, to steal all but one of the shards of the destroyed shield and replace them with fakes. 2 years later, the Whispering Tyrant finished development of the Radiant Fire, a weapon he theorized could destroy the Great Seal. He tested it first on the town of Roslar's Coffer and utterly destroyed it. He then turned it on Vigil, triggering it with the shard of the shattered shield still remaining in Castle Overwatch. This killed more than 8,000 people and destroyed the final remaining seal that had been entrusted to the Knights of Ozum. With the Great Seal now vulnerable, he turned Radiant Fire on Gallowspire and freed himself. Tar-Baphon and his legions of undead destroyed Lastwall and routed the Knights of Ozum. The nation of Lastwall is now aptly named the Gravelands. The Knights of Ozum have been trying to reform themselves now under the banner of the Knights of Lastwall so they can reclaim their land and destroy the undead forces. Tar-Baphon marched towards the Starstone to achieve godhood, but he was turned back by powerful and tenacious heroes. During the battle, Tar-Baphon lost his hand, and with it the shard and the ability to use Radiant Fire. The Whispering Tyrant reformed in the wake of the defeat, and once again attempted to recruit the orcs of Belkzen. But this time, they refused. When Tar-Baphon attempted to subjugate them by force, the orcs fought back. Tar-Baphon has since located his headquarters on the Isle of Terror. But old grudges die hard, especially when family is involved. Sometime after Tar-Baphon had been imprisoned in Gallowspire, Kara Morose came back from the negative energy plane. Now a Ravener herself, she seeks revenge on the Whispering Tyrant and anyone who has supported him. Discovering his return to the Isle of Terror, Kara Morose hastily attacked. She was forced to retreat, but is continuing to plot her revenge and overthrow the Whispering Tyrant. Likewise, Arasni is back from the grave, and she is not happy with Tar-Baphon. She plots her own form of revenge. Pathfinder 2nd Edition starts here, with the current in-game year being 4721 AR. Who will be able to stop Tar-Baphon from gaining control over all of Golarion and creating the world of undead under his control? Time will tell. This is the time for heroes to rise. I hope you enjoyed this first story of Golarion in depth. I look to do more of these stories and legends of the world of Pathfinder and Lost Omens. Who would you like to see? Did any of these pique your interest? Maybe Iomedae. What happened with Arasni? And how does she become a god even in this current time? Didn't she die? Maybe you want to see where Eridan came about, and what is this star stone that you hear about? Let me know in the comments, and until next time, happy gaming!